A camera company could make the body we all want, but they won't because they have to cannibalize it, so we buy the next body or buy the alternate body. Testing 1, 2. All right, this should focus. Hey guys, this is Steve Huff from SteveHuffPhoto.com. Things might look a little different around here. This is my new video room where I will shoot videos for YouTube, and I have a new pair of soft boxes here that totally make all the difference. In the past, I used a LED panel that I bought from Amazon. It was like 130 bucks, but it always put off this weird color, right? And I was never happy with it. I got a pair of cheap soft boxes for around 100 bucks on Amazon, and they are perfecto for this kind of situation. I want to talk a little bit about something. If you watched my last 2 videos, and not many people did because I didn't put it on my website and I didn't really talk about it much. It was just up there because, and it was an old camera. I was talking about the Panasonic GH5 and GH5S. Cameras that there's hundreds of reviews on YouTube and online for already. Now those cameras are aimed at the filmmaking crowd, the video crowd, those who are totally into video. Photos with those cameras kind of come in second, and people buy them for their video capabilities, for the fact that they have 4K, 400 megabits per second, 10-bit shooting internally. You can get some crazy high quality video out of those Panasonic bodies. But they have one serious flaw. The autofocus on those cameras is atrocious. If you're someone who wants to use a camera for vlogging, for something like this, for, well, I'll show you in a minute, for any kind of run and gun where you will want autofocus, you must avoid those Panasonic GH5 and GH5S. If you're only going to use manual focus, or you're a filmmaker or make documentary, whatever you're using it for, if you're manual focus, they are superb. But if you need autofocus at all, they're not really good at all, and it just failed on me. I've tried every combination of settings. I tested it in all kinds of light, and even in sunlight it had issues keeping focus with the old school contrast detect autofocus. So I gave up on the Panasonic. I thought I had it figured out, but it still went haywire on me, and I'm not going with Panasonic. I'm actually going to keep 2 brands. I'm going to keep Sony for my serious video work that I don't show here, that's not for YouTube. That camera will be used in many ways, but the Sony A7 III, A7R III, whatever I decide to use, will give me superb low light, that depth of field control if I want it due to the full frame sensor, amazing battery life, super fast focus, and it'll have those limitations of 30-minute record time that doesn't have the swivel out screen, but I won't need it for what I'm going to use that for. But I needed a camera with a swivel out screen so I can shoot videos like this, and I needed a camera that could focus like this, where it's not going to hunt and fail and wobble. It's going to do this. So see how that locked on, and it's amazing. I'm filming this with a camera I just bought yesterday. And before I talk about that, I've had this camera, its brother, for quite a while now. This is the Canon M50 with the 22 f2 on it. And I have to tell you, I'm not a fan of this camera so much for going out and taking photos because it has no viewfinder. Oh, you're not there. Actually, yeah, I could see what I'm shooting if I just do this. It has no viewfinder. It feels great though. It feels solid. It feels really beautiful. You have external controls here, exposure compensation. The dials feel nice and weighty. You have a flash, which I'll never use, and you have a pretty decently sized battery. So here's the battery for the Canon M6. It's a pretty nice sized battery, and you know, I have no real complaints with the M6. I have the 11-22 lens, and I have the 22 f2 as well. I find both of these lenses to be really, really good, and I'm filming this with the 11-22 all the way to 11mm on the newest Canon EOS M, the M50. Now the M50 is a little bigger than the M6. It has a hump, and it is not really, I would say, not really a better camera. It's just different. It offers a swivel out screen to the left, where the M6 goes up. So that means with the M6 you cannot put a microphone here, which you really want because the built-in mics are kind of atrocious on these things. So if you're going to be using this for vlogging, you want good quality sound. So that was one of the problems with the M6. So the M50 now has a swivel out screen that comes out this way. Actually, let me film this filming me so you can see what I'm talking about. Alright, so I'm now going to film, and you'll see I'll switch the camera angles. Here is the Canon M50, and that is what is filming me right now. As you can see, I fit my Shure mic on top here, like so, and I can do that without any kind of penalty because the LCD flips out to the side. I have the 11-22 on, and let me stop this real quick. And it just works. I mean, the AF is beautiful on both of these cameras because they have Canon's dual pixel AF, which I'm finding faster and more responsive and locks on quicker than even the fastest Sony. So a camera like the M50, while it doesn't feel as good as the M6. I was a little disappointed when I took the M50 out of the box. It feels a little hollow, feels a little cheap. The dials are not as good as the M6. It doesn't have a dedicated exposure comp dial, but the menus are really easy to navigate and go through. And all that really mattered was, can it work for something like this? And focus if I need it to focus or show you guys something. Like if I want to say, hey guys, I just got the M50. You can see how fast that focuses. And that is something that I really needed. That is something the Panasonic GH5s could not do, and the Sonys can do it. The Sonys can do it, but with the Sonys, sometimes they miss, and sometimes there's other things. There's things I prefer about this over the Sony because this has the swivel out LCD. I don't have to add an external display to see what I'm looking at. So while there's tons of people who have written about this M50 on YouTube and online, I just want to say I bought one yesterday. It was $6.99 with a kit lens that I'll never use, and it works great for this kind of situation. I also threw a handle on it and took a walk around, and it worked beautifully, and I had no complaints. So the M50 ticks a lot of boxes, and where it loses out is it's not something that you're going to want as a low light camera. While it does pretty well in low light, it's not anywhere near the Sonys. It's not near the GH5S. But the big winning point of the M50 is that it has great color. I love Canon's color. It has that dual pixel autofocus, which is amazing. It has a mic input and the swivel out screen. And the M50, they cheaped out on the battery. It's a smaller battery than what's in the M6, and I don't know why they did that. I don't know why camera companies continue to cannibalize each model. Well, I do know why, because they want you to buy all the models and say, ooh, I need this now. A camera company could make the body we all want, but they won't, because they have to cannibalize it, so we buy the next body or buy the alternate body. But I always recommend buy the camera that is good for you. Good for you. The best model, the closest you can get to your needs. Now this M50 is not some expensive camera, and I'm used to shooting Leica, the A9, expensive cameras, right? This camera at $6.99 is perfect for one of my needs, which are things like this. Things like walking around and talking, or showing a product and reviewing a product. So you add this to the $100 soft boxes, which I'm going to show you those too. Let me film it with the M6 and I'll throw the footage here. So I have these soft boxes. I'm using the 22, so it's a little tight. And I have one over here. And these were like $100. And if you want to check them out, I'll put a link in the description below to Amazon where I bought them, because there's so many soft boxes. And these are pretty good quality. They come with the stands. They come with the big bulb. They come with the soft box, which is easy to pop open. And they're not huge, they're not small, but they put out a great amount of light for something like this. If I were to turn these off, everything would just fall apart and turn to garbage. Let me actually do that and you guys can see what I'm talking about. Okay, you can't even see me because now we see the background. I forgot I'm using manual exposure. So if I set this to auto ISO, which I can do right on the front panel, brightens up some, there we go. So you're gonna see grain, I'm going to look dark. You're gonna get more moodiness of the room, but it's not really a pleasing look. So I'm gonna go back to where I was, and we're gonna turn the lights back on, and voila, we have instant, great exposure, great color. We have that instant autofocus capability. So the M50, who is it for? If you see a lot of videos saying the M50 is the perfect vlogging camera, then you see people who say the M50 is garbage, it's crap. I thought it was going to be crap. I actually bought it locally at a Best Buy, and I'm like, if it's no good, I'll return it tomorrow. And it took me a while to get the settings dialed in. And after I used it, I'm like, this is a great little camera. But who's it for? It's for those who might want to vlog, might want to take family videos, because you have that AF that's going to nail your subject. It's going to lock on and do so reliably. It's the best autofocus that I've seen. Canon's dual pixel AF. It's astonishing. Sony is right behind them with their autofocus. And so here you have Canon and Sony up here with the AF. You have Panasonic's GH series way down here. But Canon and Sony are the leaders in autofocus for video. So it's got the swivel out screen. It has everything one would need for casual videos or even videos like this or vlogging. It has a swivel out screen. It's perfect for that. And it has okay low light performance, not the best, but not the worst. You have about a 2.5 hour battery life if you were to just record video. So that's not too bad, but you can pick up a couple extra batteries for cheap. $6.99 with the kit zoom, but I highly recommend the 11-22 lens. It's really good, as is the 22 f2, which is the fastest Canon EOS M-mount lens that they sell. You can also buy an adapter and mount any of the Canon EF lenses. So you can mount the 16-35 f2.8, 16-35 f4, 24-1.4, any of those beautiful L lenses can be mounted to this guy. But yeah, it's not the best built camera. It's not the best feeling camera, but performance is where I'm judging this one, and the performance of the M50 for this use is top notch. It also appears to take some really cool photos, quality photos I should say, with that typical Canon color. So that's my new camera that I'll be using for these videos. I'll also still be using my M6 in some situations. So there you go, and I'll be using the Sony a7 III now for more serious work, and sometimes maybe I'll throw it in here to show up the differences and stuff. But I just wanted to give a talk about my new lights and the new M50, and I'll have links in the description below to all of it if you want more information. But these lights are killer if you've been looking for soft boxes. For the money, I don't know of anything better. So if you like this video, thumbs up and subscribe. This is Steve Huff from SteveHuffPhoto.com. I'll see you next time. Bye.